What's up with y'all, man? Scotty Knows back at it, talking hoops. You know the deal by now. We're talking NBA. We're talking WNBA. Once that season rolls around, we're talking college basketball. We're talking about it all over here. We're talking about basketball, man. And of course, it's trade season. It's trade season. We're ready for some crazy flips to some of these teams and to their rosters. We're ready for some stars to get traded. And yeah, we have about a day left, or yeah, until Thursday. So we have one day left in until the trade deadline hits, right? So there's going to be a whole bunch of trades that are worthy of a breakdown or to make content off of, or just just talk basketball, So for these next couple of days, as the week unfolds and we kind of like wind down to the trade deadline, I will be putting out some of these videos talking about some of these trades and yeah, it's just the most exciting time to be an NBA fan or just a basketball fan in general. So definitely hope everybody's keeping up with all the drama that's going on. And yeah, so as for the first major trade that went down, besides the Trae Young trade, already talked about that in a previous video. Go check that one out. That one did pretty good. So yeah, besides the Trae Young trade that happened a couple weeks ago, right? Now we are 2 days away from Thursday's trade deadline, and we've had a trade between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Garland, in the future first round pick or future second round pick, is getting sent to Los Angeles for James Harden. Pretty much a swap of the guards, a swap of star guards. So of course, my initial thoughts on this trade. So of course, it sucks to see a player like Darius Garland, who pretty much began his career in Cleveland, kind of was named the worst player in the league statistically in his rookie year, to pretty much turning into one of the better guards in the league and turning into a two-time All-Star. It sucks to see that tenure come to an end. And yeah, it just sucks to see a player like Darius Garland be shipped out, especially for the fact that he kind of started it. He kind of began the rebuilds for the Cleveland Cavaliers many years ago, before Jared Allen was shipped to the Cavs from Brooklyn, before Donovan Mitchell was shipped to the Cavs from the Utah Jazz, before Evan Mobley was even drafted. He was kind of like the main piece that started that began like he was the main piece that began those good years, those good playoff years. So to see him grow into a great player that he is now, it kind of sucks to see him leave the Cleveland Cavaliers. But at the same time, the NBA is the business. It's trade season. We know trade deadlines come every single year. So pretty much this confirms that once you get drafted into the NBA, it's pretty much a guarantee that at some point in your career you will be swapping teams, or you're probably going to get traded unless you're a top tier caliber superstar type of player. And even then, like we saw a year ago with the Luka Doncic trade, you could be a full-fledged superstar caliber player that takes your team to the NBA Finals, and you could still end up getting swapped for another player just because of the business of the game. So that kind of sucks. But the main question, or the main thing to talk about, is why would James Harden not want to continue the year out with not the Cleveland Cavaliers, with the Los Angeles Clippers, right? It's simple. It's the business of the game. It's the contract extension. He signed a 2-year, $82 million contract extension, I believe last summer or 2 summers ago, whatever it was. And for the second year, it's on the back end of a player option. So he would have the choice of sticking with the Los Angeles Clippers or not, based on what they would offer him contract-wise. From James Harden's perspective, the main thing is, like, if you're not going to give me the proper numbers that I feel like I deserve on my next contract to extend me, then I'm just going to ask out now, ask for a trade, so you guys could have something in return for me, because there's no guarantee that I would have signed that contract in the offseason, especially since I have a player option. So pretty much send me to another team that's willing to take on my contract and possibly extend me. Now the difference is with the Cleveland Cavaliers, we're not sure if we are not sure if they want to. We're not sure if they really want to extend a player like James Harden yet, just because he just got traded and that's not really like a confirmed thing. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, this could very well blow up in their face later on down the road, of course. But for the Los Angeles Clippers, it's kind of like your hands are kind of tied behind your back. You can't really do anything about that. Um, and it makes sense from James Harden's perspective in terms of like, I feel like I'm worth this amount, then I should see that amount on the contract, and if I don't, then we're gonna have to progress to move me somewhere else. And it's not even like he probably wanted to necessarily leave the Clippers. He's someone that was born and raised or kind of grew up in Los Angeles, so it makes sense that he would want to stay with a team like Los Angeles, right? But at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. So, um, and it also shows the mutual respect between James Harden and the Los Angeles Clippers, because the Clippers, of course, could have just sent him anywhere, just like any team. You really don't have a large say in what teams you get traded to or where you go, right? But even in James Harden's case, which he does have like some stipulations of a no trade clause, and he can control where he wants to go. Um, I think the fact that James Harden was willing to compromise and find a destination for himself that he could thrive in, while also finding a destination for the Los Angeles Clippers, or a player for the Los Angeles Clippers like Darius Garland, that they could have like some kind of investment on return for James Harden. I think that shows the compromising and the respect level that both teams, or that both sides of the card have for each other. So the main reason to why James Harden was looking for a trade or seeking for a trade, or the reason why the Clippers were seeking for a James Harden trade more specifically, because the reports came out that James Harden didn't necessarily ask for a trade, it's because of the business of the game, not extending the contract, those type of things. So, yeah, don't blame James Harden for even if he did want out. Don't blame him for wanting out. Don't blame him for looking somewhere else, because at the end of the day, you got to look out for yourself, and you got to kind of represent yourself properly. But what this does do for James Harden, on the positive side of things, it allows him to possibly have. I mean, when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've kind of disappointed this season. They haven't really been the type of team that they should look like. They should look like a legit, easy contending roster, or just contending team that could contend for a NBA Finals or NBA championship. And obviously with the Darius Garland injuries and the inconsistencies of play with Evan Mobley and everything, it's put a large load on Donovan Mitchell. So, and of course, Donovan Mitchell has his poor games and his poor performances, but for the most part, Donovan Mitchell does so much for the Cavaliers at this point, especially with those injuries, that it's kind of like they've just disappointed, unfortunately. So to maximize this Donovan Mitchell tenure, and to maximize what they have right now with Donovan Mitchell, with an emerging Jalen Tyson, with a young Evan Mobley, and with a very productive Jared Allen, it just made sense to make this trade, especially with Garland just having the inconsistencies that he has with his play, and also just like injury wise. In terms of point guard play, it does give the Cavaliers a in terms of point guard play, it's a different type of point guard that you have now. James Harden is more of someone that's going to take his time, slow down the pace, really just kind of be the orchestrator of the offense. Darius Garland is more of like a combo guard, kind of on and off ball point guard that could break you down on the dribble, while at the same time he plays off the ball just fine. And he definitely pushes the pace more compared to a James Harden. But I would say what benefits the Cavaliers is having a point guard with a little bit more size next to Donovan Mitchell. And I think in a weird way, I think this would allow Donovan Mitchell to have, I don't know if it would allow him to have the ball in his hands more, but I think the steadiness that James Harden does bring, and like the patience and the to be honest with you, the slower pace that he does bring, I think might benefit Donovan Mitchell a bit better compared to a Darius Garland, because Donovan Mitchell, in my eyes, I look at him as someone that can definitely be the primary point guard or the primary point of attack guard for a championship roster. And I think slowing things down with how James Harden could do it, and also the way that the way that James Harden plays in terms of being more of an orchestrator of the offense, I think would just serve in Donovan Mitchell's favor compared to Darius Garland. He's viewed as more of like a combo type of guard. He could get it himself. He could set other guys up. He could play with or without the ball. They're definitely gonna miss the factor that Darius is so great without the ball. But at the same time, what James Harden could do for your bigs like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and what he could do in terms of like shifting the pace of the game, and playing with a bit more patience, I think would complement Donovan Mitchell nicely, and possibly just better than what a Darius Garland could have done. And James Harden is a 6'5" point guard compared to Darius Garland being a 6'1" point guard. So you get you and the game of basketball. The game of basketball is a game of size. So of course, if you could go bigger, that's usually better. So I like it for the Cavaliers. The only problem is that it's a trade where you really have to win in the next year or two. I think either this season or next season. That's pretty much the window that you have. After that, that's when things kind of get a little bit scary because you really don't have a lot of room for error now once you go for this trade. Because James Harden is 36, Darius Garland is a 26-year-old two-time All-Star. So you kind of speed up the timeline for yourself in terms of legitimately competing for a championship. But at the same time, I think I am highly intrigued and excited to see the fit next to Donovan Mitchell, and I'm excited to see what James Harden could do for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But shifting sides to the Clippers side of things is going to be a bit quicker, but of course we got to talk about both sides of the trade. What this does for the Clippers, well, first of all, in my previous video, I had a video saying how the Sixers are the Sixers. It seems like no matter what the Sixers do, there's always something with them that's kind of hindering them, or something that comes up out of the blue, out of nowhere. I think that type of thinking applies more to a team like the Los Angeles Clippers than the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it applies to both, but definitely the Clippers are the Clippers. There's always something going on. There's always something to be addressed with this team. So obviously, of course, out of the blue, out of nowhere, James Harden requests a trade or is looking for another team to suit him and what he wants for the rest of his career. Something that the Clippers probably couldn't really control, but at the same time, it's just like there's always something with this type of team. So yeah. But on a positive note, right? This allows the Clippers to get a bit younger because they are the oldest team in the NBA. So it allows them to get younger, and if they do choose to trade Kawhi, if they choose to trade a player like Kawhi Leonard before the trade deadline ends, or maybe even during the offseason, if they choose to kind of blow it up with Zubac, if they choose to go into like a retooling or rebuilding type of situation in the future, Darius Garland is a solid player to begin that retool or that restart of the organization with. Especially at the point guard position. And what he's going to do for you, he's going to push the pace a little bit more. He's going to be a bit more dynamic in terms of how he could play with or without the ball. And also, I think he brings a little bit more raw effort when it comes to defense and some of the little things that you like to look at on the court. Of course, James Harden right now is the better player. I mean, he's a walking 25 and 10. But what Darius Garland does give you is a bit more effort on the defensive end. Like I think when it comes to pressuring the ball, when it comes to that on-ball defense, I think he's a little bit better in that aspect of things. The problem is that he's just a smaller player. He's 6'1". He's on the skinnier side, on the slimmer side of things, so it's easy to target him in a playoff series and just keep going at him every single time. But the one thing you can say about Darius Garland is that he's always going to put in that effort, and he's always going to he's not gonna back down from any competition or any physicality. He's just small. That's just pretty much what it is. So he does bring those positive aspects to the Clippers. The Clippers can still be a very good team. for the rest of this season. If Darius Garland could somehow get healthier and start legitimately playing more consistently. The problem is that like I don't think that's really going to happen, at least for not this season. We'll see him in the Clippers jersey for sure later on this season, but for these next couple weeks, who knows? And of course, the main problem that I have for the Clippers this season is that their success highly depended on what James Harden was able to do for them. And now that you have traded James Harden, and now that you're getting an injured Darius Garland, you pretty much have no legitimate orchestrator of the offense, or no legitimate point guard to go along with a Kawhi Leonard for the next a couple weeks to a month. Who knows? I don't know. But you're going to be without a legitimate point guard for a little bit, and you pretty much just you kind of lack in talent a little bit more and depth on the team. So that kind of is a sucky situation to be in. But at the same time, the fact that the Clippers, in such a quick turnaround for a trade, were able to acquire another star point guard, pretty much swap a star for a star, I think that's still pretty solid. I think what he can do for you in terms of what Darius Garland could do for you in terms of pushing the pace, playing with or without the ball, and bringing that raw effort and dog mentality to the Clippers is definitely gonna be a nice thing to see. If you're a Clippers fan, I think Darius Garland is still a very good player, still all-star caliber player in the NBA. The problem that you look at is just his health, and then of course like the direction in which the Clippers are going to go in the near future. But at the same time, from Darius Garland's perspective, the Clippers team kind of complements him nicely. They have he has room to be the primary point guard again, or the primary on ball guard. So that's nice because I feel like for a player like Garland, a lot of his scoring and consistency relies on just being in rhythm. So of course, just having the ball in his hands, getting more of those on ball reps, and really orchestrating the offense himself is kind of what we're going to see more of, especially before, like in the pre-Donovan Mitchell era of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I feel like before Donovan Mitchell was shipped to the Cavaliers, we were kind of seeing like Darius Garland legitimately have his own team, and kind of the Cavs were pretty much like shaping things around him, and then Donovan Mitchell comes in and it kind of changes the way that not changes the way that Darius Garland has to operate, but more so not as much live on ball reps. So I think having the ball in his hands a little bit more to start the offense every possession is going to be nice for him. It's going to allow him to get into rhythm and just be more consistent, hopefully. I think when you're playing next to a player like Chris Dunn, in the defense that he provides, I think that complements Darius Garland nicely. Obviously, you have a superstar player in Kawhi Leonard, and then you have Zubac, who, of course, Garland will be losing two phenomenal big men in Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, but now you have Zubac, who is also a very, very good center in the NBA, one of the better centers in the NBA right now. So, in terms of who won the trade, I would probably go with the Cleveland Cavaliers for now, just because they're looking to legitimately win a championship. I guess both teams are looking to win a championship, but I feel like more so for the Cavs, the James Harden piece could potentially be that missing piece, or that perfect puzzle piece fit that they need to legitimately be a legitimate contender and get to the finals and possibly be NBA champions. So I think that would go better for them in the long run. The problem is that if they don't win in the next year or two, they're pretty much gonna be in like a reset mode after that. Compared to the Clippers, they could very well be in a reset mode sooner, but at the very least, they have a younger player in Darius Garland to restart things with and whatnot. So so that's a crazy trade to begin trade season. I could probably talk for another 30 minutes on this trade, or just go deeper. But of course, there's a lot of trades going on. There's some trades going on right now as I speak, as my phone is freaking dinging and buzzing in my pocket for the last 10 minutes. So, of course, I'm Scotty Knows. I'm talking NBA basketball, college basketball, anything basketball related. I'm pretty much sharing it to you guys and sharing my content. I appreciate whoever's watching this. I appreciate you guys for real. And I'm gonna have more videos coming out about trade season and all the trades that are coming out for the next couple of days or so. Stay tuned and peace.